Welcome back. For the next couple segments, our legal panel weighs in. Let's start by introducing the three of them, all three former prosecutors. Jim Kousouros, criminal defense attorney now in Manhattan. He sits on the board of directors of the New York City Criminal Bar Associations. He also frequently lectures at New York Law School and the bar associations in Queens and New York City. Doug von Oiste, founding partner of Carsten von Oiste, focusing on corporate misconduct, and was selected by the Legal 500 as one of the most influential trial lawyers in the whole country. Mayo Bartlett, an attorney at the law offices of Mayo Bartlett PLC and a former chief of the Bias Crimes Unit at the Westchester County DA's office. All right, guys, we're going to kick off where I just basically ended here. The president and the attorney general continuing to go after the FBI today. Early in the show, we played William Barr criticizing the Bureau over its handling of the Russia probe, accusing it of gross abuses, and we also showed you how the president called the FBI, among other things, scum. Now, the day before the president said that, he had this to say about the Bureau.
They fabricated evidence and they lied to the courts and they did all sorts of things to have it go their way. This was an attempted overthrow and a lot of people were in on it and they got caught.
And of course, we heard among the other people he claimed were involved in the coup, he claimed the former president, he claimed basically everyone was in cahoots to get him, even though, as we heard from testimony from the IG today, not so. Okay, there's two parts to this. There is the part that clearly, as we heard from the Inspector General from the Justice Department, there were mistakes, and not minor ones, by the feds. Now, you guys in particular have been dealing with the feds in different cases, and you've spoken at length over the last years about the awesome power that they hold and wield. But he said very clearly he did not find political bias as the driver here, and moreover, he said that the predicate for the investigation was valid and the end conclusions were fine. Let's not gloss over, though, that there were errors made. It wasn't just mistakes. Some of them were conscious.
Yeah. I mean, look, the painting the FBI, the president and the attorney general painting the FBI with such a broad brush, and to say that the FBI is scum, and essentially to say that the law enforcement agency that protects our country is just all bad because they're investigating him is just horrendous, and it will certainly have a consequential effect on morale and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just wrong, and it's just language and references that you just shouldn't hear coming from Commander-in-Chief. On the other hand, not for nothing, you know, this is a problem. You know, when you submit an affidavit ex parte to a judge, there's no adversarial proceeding, there's, you know, nobody to challenge anything in there, and you're swearing under oath that the things you're putting in there are true, and they turn out to be not only untrue, but recklessly untrue, deliberately untrue, listen, it's a problem. And those specific individuals should be called upon, they should be punished for that conduct. But painting the entire FBI with such a broad brush because they're investigating him when the predicate for the investigation is deemed legitimate and without political bias is atrocious.
But Jim, you gotta look also that if you lie to any of those FBI agents, you get charged federally. There's a criminal consequence.
I'm totally with you. They should be punished.
Absolutely, and it has to be more. It has to be more than, you know, you have a demotion. I mean, if you're going to charge the person that's a plumber or there's a waitress someplace, and you pursue them with the full measure of the law and all the might, absolutely.
It's perjury.
You have to be able to go, and you can have both. You can have both, but you have to address it, and it has to be a meaningful way that you do that.
Doug, I know you have personal friendships with people still at the FBI right now, and I just imagine they're sitting there, and it's not just the president who has said this and labeled their department this way, but once again, the Attorney General. The Attorney General intentionally lied about what the Mueller report said before the Mueller report was ever formally presented. The Attorney General, again, even though it's a nonpartisan, universally respected guy who's the Inspector General, he talked about the issues he had with the report. He nonetheless mischaracterizes again what the spying was, et cetera, that took place. Or under oath, he testified, no, there was no evidence whatsoever that the president was ever surveilled in any way, shape, or form. But yet the AG does it again. To me, I don't know, the Attorney General carries more weight than a normal elected official, particularly if I'm in law enforcement, particularly, you know, if I'm in the FBI, an agency who's now going to be questioned going forward where they weren't in the past.
But first, I don't think you can say that the Attorney General intentionally lied. I don't think that's proper.
No. I can say, you can disagree with me, but the Attorney General, and again, I've heard nothing all day but from former FBI leadership who said, what the Attorney General, how he characterized the report by Horowitz was completely not true. Specifically, talking about the surveillance. The president puts out a narrative on more than one occasion, and Barr is serving as his personal attorney. I've never in my lifetime seen an Attorney General do this. I'm not naive that they're appointees, but at the end of the day, they're supposed to be law enforcement. What he did with the president again yesterday and again today is jaw-dropping.
Well, listen, Rich, I'm just not comfortable with somebody saying somebody's intentionally lying unless it's been proven, especially somebody who's in law enforcement and a member of the bar. But what I will tell you is this Horowitz report, you know, you can imagine if this Horowitz report, the conclusion was that the probe was wrong, it was started falsely, that this was a conspiracy conclusion. Imagine what we'd be talking about right now.
Absolutely.
So to look at the conclusions of the report, I don't think are helpful at all. I think what you have to do is you look at what Jim pointed out, the things that were done during the course of that investigation that were clearly wrong. That's really what we should be not analyzing, not the conclusions.
Well, except if the conclusion was that it was poisoned fruit from jump, then there are legitimate questions about whether or not the law enforcement arm, the judicial branch of this country, the Department of Justice more specifically, was geared to derail a candidate. Then, whether I like Trump or not, that would be an egregious abuse of power, and we would have to have a total re-examination of that agency. I'm saying something different. I'm saying mistakes made, you guys have forgotten more than I know about this, and if heads need to roll there, they need to roll. But at the end of the day, he said it was on the up and up. It started from a good place. They screwed up in between here, but in no way, shape, or form did he see political animus at play, and moreover, he didn't think that the final findings were in it. That said, we can't gloss over the Attorney General in what he's been doing time and time again. Forget that I don't get why he's doing it, Jimmy, given his reputation coming into the job. He's doing it nonetheless, and I think at great damage here to agencies we're going to need to count on as Americans, whether it be the intelligence agencies, the FBI, etc. When we come back, we're going to get to lightning round. 3 stories, 3 guys, all in 7 minutes. We're looking at Boeing under fire for crashing of its 737 jets. Also, a police chief taking heat for getting political after he went after Republicans for failing to deal with gun violence. Plus, plea bargains are a huge part of the criminal justice system. Question is, are most of them unconstitutional?